Hey, what's up guys? AG here with Advlog Cinema, talking to you about my 3 biggest lighting mistakes. So whether you're a DP, director, videographer, cinematographer, whatever your role is, you have to know that it's not the camera that makes the video. You could have a terrible camera and really good lighting, and that would look better than an amazing camera with terrible lighting. So lighting is a really important part of the filmmaking process, and it can make or break your visual performance. Here are my 3 tips for good lighting. The first one, diffusion. Now, when I first started, my biggest thing is that I was trying to light my subject and I would get shadows in the background, really harsh shadows. As you can see, my face is super harsh, the light is super harsh on my face, and there are very, very sharp shadows. Probably around my nose and probably around my eyes, but you can see that the light is super, super drastic on my face. Now, what a lot of filmmakers do is that they try to overcompensate. So they'll have one light on this side and then they're like, oh crap, I have shadows on the background. So even if I did this, you can see that I have a huge shadow behind my head on the wall. Now, I would come across this issue and say, how do I fix that? Well, let's put another light facing the wall so that we'd get rid of that shadows, but then I would have so many lights all over the place, I'd have 1,000 lights. So my first tip is use diffusion. I actually have some paper diffusion that a lot of people use to put around their lights. And what this does is it really diffuses the subject, or it really diffuses the light. It's almost like a cloud or a lampshade. You see over here that if my hand's down here, the light is really harsh, but if I move my hand up here, the light wraps around my hand and it looks really, really good. So if you can think of diffusion like a lampshade, then you kind of start to get the picture of what it does. But even then, I have my light. It's super harsh, even with the first diffusion on it. But if I throw that second diffusion in, now it's super soft and it covers my face and it looks really good. So there are lots of different types of diffusion. You can use soft boxes, which are the most common diffusions that we use. And then you also have the paper diffusion. You also have bounce board diffusion. So really, if you're lighting something, make sure you're diffusing it. It saves your actors from looking at such a harsh light. Like my eyes are like shot right now. You're not getting those shadows. You're getting a much more natural look, and it just makes things look 10 times better. That goes into my second rule though, is remember how I said that I used one light and because I didn't diffuse it, I would throw another light in? So my second rule is use as few lights as you can. A good cinematographer, a good gaffer, they know how to use lights. And a good director of photography or cinematographer will try to use as few lights as he can to really light the scene. If you can restrict your scene or your interview to 1 or 2 lights, you're doing a good job. They teach us 3-point lighting in school, but I honestly think you can get away with like 2-point lighting or even reverse key lighting. A lot of the great cinematographers only use 1 light to light their scenes or light their subjects. So if you can try to limit your lights, that's my second tip. My next tip is kind of a big tip, and you see it a lot of times. It's actually something that most people never really realize, or at least in film school, I didn't realize until I got out of school my senior year, or even until after, is you can bounce light. Now, what do you mean by bounce light? I mean, you don't have to directly point your light at your subject. If you're working in a white room, that's almost one of the best things to do to bounce light or off of the ceiling. And here's an example. This is my 4-foot or 3-foot bounce board. Now, this bounce board helps me bounce light off of my main source onto whatever I need it to. So instead of shooting the light directly at my face, I'll shoot it out the bounce board and try to light my face that way. That way, I'm not having to use diffusion, and it's also creating a bigger light source. So those are my 3 tips on lighting. Those all came from first-hand experiences. When I first started out, I didn't do any of these things, and my lighting looked terrible. I didn't know why until I found these techniques, I found these things that I was doing, and once I started implementing them, my videos looked 1,000 times better. So just to recap, use diffusion, try to use as few lights as possible, and bounce stuff whenever you can. So if you guys like the video, hit the like button. If you guys have any comments or if there's any lighting tips that you guys have, make sure you're putting them in the comment section down below. If you guys want to see more vlogs or any of the content we have here on Advlog Cinema, hit the subscribe button. I'm AJ with Advlog Cinema. I'll see you guys next week.
You kept going and going.
Oh no.
And
I'll see you guys next week. with the fill. Can you see that? Do I look like an idiot?
Yep.
I look like an idiot.